All right. Hey, B fam. We are trying something a little bit different this go around. Normally, we record the video and then we upload it into YouTube, and we're going to try to just go straight live, which means you have no idea what you're going to get because I have my stepdaughter, Riley, here. She's a very unpredictable human being.
Thanks.
And so we're starting a series called Stepdaughter Chronicles. And this will be the first of hopefully 4 that come out for the month of March. I don't know if I even told you that we're hoping to do 4.
I'm hearing it for the first time too.
My thought is it's your birthday month. So,
So put her to work.
put you to work. And the people like to see you and hear you.
Do they?
They do.
Okay.
The episodes that you're on, we have way more downloads and a lot more comments because people like to hear from the stepdaughter's perspective, and it helps them relate because, there's some struggles that are happening.
Understandable.
So we put some questions out on the social medias, and you're going to call me out on calling them social medias.
You called your own self out. I didn't have to do anything.
So I put some questions. So we're going to cover a couple of those today. I think they kind of a little bit can go hand in hand. So I think they complement each other well. And then just a random question that I think I know the answer to that I don't think we really need to do a whole episode about, but we will see what you say. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. We will get into it right after this. Now, if you're watching on the live, obviously, we're not going into a pause. Riley said, what are you going to do about like the whole intro and stuff? But I do want to tell you, if you're watching on the live, that not in this very moment, it's not uploaded. But if you're watching this after the fact, there's going to be the STEPFAMILY JUMPSTART in there. So if you are trying to blend your step family, if you're trying to strengthen those relationships, go ahead and download that and get started because it is something that's going to help you form better connections with those that are in your step family. And it does that by having you list out what you enjoy doing, things that bring you fun and excitement. And then each member of your step family is going to do the same thing. And you're going to look across the board. And when you find things that everybody has in common, those are the things you're going to do as a family. But then when you find things that just you and like maybe your stepdaughter has in common, those are the things that y'all go and do together. Or you might see like we have a camping trip planned. Riley, myself, and her dad are the only ones that like to camp. My foster daughter, she kind of does, but it's not like really I think she likes the idea of it, but maybe not actually doing it. We'll see. But so the other kids aren't coming. So it's that kind of stuff. Look at what you enjoy doing, find some common interest, and then put it on the calendar to make some time for those things. All right. Now, are you ready to get into it?
Yeah.
You here for it?
I'm here.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay. I do want to ask you this question before we actually go. This is a little pre-workout episode.
Okay.
Because you don't watch my Instagram stories, right?
No.
No, I didn't. I'm not. I plan on you not watching our Instagram stories. So
the algorithm just don't do y'all right.
Yeah, yours is first and foremost on mine. Yeah. Anyways, it's not a shame thing. I'm just telling you so that you don't know what I'm talking about here. Okay. So a couple days ago, when we were going to take my car to Freeport, and your dad decided that he would drive along too, and then you were going to come as well. So I was going to be driving a car and your dad was going to be driving a car, and you had to decide who you were going to drive with. Right before that, I had just done a story about, because I was waiting for y'all and I was sitting in the car and I was like, yeah, this is something that would have like been like a trigger for me in the past, because you would have chose to ride with your dad. And then I would have got my feelings hurt because obviously you hate me and you don't want to spend any time with me. And you would, all the things that go through my mind.
There's that effect.
Yes, which we might get into it in just a little bit. But, and then I said on there, I was like, but Riley and I actually spend more time together. And in this situation, she's obviously going to choose to ride with me today. And then you came out and you chose to ride with your dad.
Well, because Dad,
He needed
he
you.
was
or-
having a hard day. And that's what I thought was the understanding, was I pointed to the truck and was like, yeah.
Yeah, that's what you need to
And
do.
you nodded like, I understand.
Okay, and that's what I figured. I thought maybe you thought y'all could get some quality father-daughter conversation happening.
Yeah.
Did it happen?
Through silence.
Through silence. Okay. All right.
We gained an understanding through quietness and some small conversation.
Okay. Randall is a man of little words a lot of times.
He's a deep thinker. Don't get that part wrong, but he just always wants what he's going to say to have value.
He don't just talk the talk.
Yeah, exactly.
And he is completely fine with riding 20 hours in silence in a car. That would not bother him at all. He would actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
For a long time, I thought, okay, what's wrong with him? He's mad, this and that. And then it just turned out we had some hard conversations about it. And he just likes to sit in silence. I do not.
Yeah.
How do you feel about silence?
Good 50-50. Like, I just drove back here in silence. And yeah. I like to listen to music a lot, but
I do not like silence ever. And right now I'm fasting entertainment in the car, and it is torturous. And I find myself pulling up my phone or doing something to fill it. And then I'm like, no, I'm not substituting one thing for another. Put it down. It's not safe anyways. And so, yeah, to me, it's like complete torture. Okay. So I'm glad we cleared that up. We also have Milo here, Riley's dog, that we're just taking a wild chance and letting him roam free. Oh, he just licked me.
yeah,
Which,
he's a licker.
yeah. And the cat is also on the other side of this table, I think. So if at any point you hear a lot of fighting, it's them. Stop licking. Okay. All right. Are you ready to get into it now for real?
Yeah.
All right. So the first question is, and answer this to the best of your ability without offending anyone.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that's hard. But
That is hard. This is the way the question came. So the question says, when your mom, or we can say even your dad, talks crap about your step parent,
mhm.
how does that make you feel? Take yourself back to little girl Riley, because most people are probably asking this question because their child is young.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even have to think about this. It makes me feel like crap, I think. Like, I think back on it to like when, your parents, I'm just going to say generally your parents, talk smack about the other one. It puts you in a situation to where you're like, it develops like a sense of, like when you're at your other parent's house, you now feel like you only have to talk, like you can only talk smack about your other parent while you're at the, does that make sense? Like, okay, for instance, if you're at your mom's house and your dad is talking smack about your mom while you're at his house, then you go to your mom's house and your mom's also talking smack about your dad. It's like, okay, well, now I have to contribute to this conversation or my mom's like not gonna accept me or anything, because ultimately what you're doing is you're putting your kid in the middle, and they love their parent. That's never going to change. You always love your parent. It doesn't matter what the parent does to you in your life. Like, I can attest to, you're always still going to love that parent. It gets really messy when you as a child grow up hearing your parent talk about the other one, because it's like, man, I really love my dad. Why is my mom talking smack about my dad? Like, I don't agree with this, but for the sake of being accepted by your mom, you're like, I mean, I guess, like it's just a really, really rough middle spot, and it does make the child feel really, really sad. I mean, I've experienced this with the rest of my siblings too, and even my little brother, like he still experiences this sometimes, and I can see, like as an adult, I can physically see the heaviness that comes over him when the parents are talking smack about each other, because it's like, like he loves both of his parents. Why can't he be accepting of them, like, so I mean, just as a personal experience, I highly recommend keeping that. Like, one thing I really, really value about my dad is, like, him and my mom would have words. Like, they would have so much smack talk between each other growing up, but I never saw that from him. He always handled it behind closed doors. And I valued that with him because I didn't ever know that he didn't agree with my mom, like I just always thought like they were on peaceful terms. But way back when my mom was a little bit more unhealthy, maybe like towards that, and unhealed from that situation, the wound was still there for her. She was very vocal about the things that she disagreed with my dad, and it confused the heck out of me because I saw a different version of him, like I saw a different I saw him in a different light. And so growing up, like always hearing, the banter, it's almost like in politics when everyone's throwing each other around, it's like, good God,
Mhm.
when can the fighting end? Um,
Did you always like, so when you were younger and you're hearing that from your mom, do you like the things that she's saying, do you see that as truth? Like because you see facts in that as well, or does it become truth because you value her opinion and stuff? And so now you're like, oh, well, if she says that that's true about my dad, then it has to be true about my dad.
yeah, I think, yeah, it's a form of manipulation, in my opinion. Like, growing up when I was smaller, I valued everything that my parents said, as we do. And, everything that came out of her mouth was gold, especially growing up and not having her around in my life. I idolized her so deeply that everything that came out of her mouth, I highly valued and I highly believed. It wasn't until I was like teenage years to where I started questioning like the things that she was saying. And I went into this really deep like depression, honestly, because I felt like I didn't fit anywhere. Like I couldn't love my dad and be at my mom's house, and I couldn't love my mom and be at my dad's house. Like I felt like I could never integrate those two parts of my life. So growing up, I just always separated them. It was two different worlds. Like when I was at my dad's house, I was fully at my dad's house. When I was at my mom's house, I was fully at my mom's house. Um, so it wasn't until I got into those teenage years that I started, really struggling, because living two different lives, and trying to figure out who you are at what, 14,
Yeah.
15, it's the toughest thing I feel like I've ever experienced. Because those years in general, I mean, I'm sure you can remember, are super important. Those are foundational,
Yeah.
ages in your life. And so you're trying to figure out who you are, but now you have this extra layer that you're also trying to break through too, between the parents throwing, smack talking each other, and then you're in the middle of all of it, and it's just a storm and everyone's just chaos. And then so it's, I think when I got older towards those teenage years, it really put me in a funk, because I was like, who do I even trust? Who can I even believe in this situation, because I trust no one. And then now into the early adult years, I was able to gather my own opinion for myself and see truly how everything was between my parents, and gather my truth from that. So yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Does that answer your question? No, so in your dad's perspective, like, or from, you're glad that he never participated in that. Correct. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying? Even
1000%.
though like it completely made the whole thing like kind of one sided, and he didn't ever speak truth in that area either. He kind of just let you go and do your thing and experience life over there. And so he wasn't ever talking on that. So you don't ever wish that he would have been more open and honest about the situation, like on your mom's side. It didn't like sway your opinion so far over that it caused more.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. The My recommendation for this question is let your own kid be the judge of their own parent. The fruit is in, what do they say? The fruit, whatever, the proof is in the pudding, right?
Yeah.
So if the other parent,
Or you'll know by their fruit. So
yeah, you'll know by the fruit. So, let your child have their own discernment when it comes to their parent, because you ultimately have, I'm just going to be honest, you have no right to speak into the child's life on their belief for their parent. I know that sometimes it can get a little muddy, and if you feel like you have a better idea for the child than the other parent, or if the other parent seems to be a little toxic and things like that, it can get a little muddy because you want to protect your child from getting hurt. But the bottom line is that that's their parent, and they're going to go through some tough times with the other parent. That's just a part of life. But your number one role is to be that support and be that rock for them whenever things hit the fan with the other parent. You're the one that's supposed to be there to hold them while they cry. You're not supposed to be there to be like, well, I told you so, your mom's a piece of crap, or your dad's a piece of crap, and they did this and this while we were married. No, girlfriend. No, that is not the answer. We're supposed to act in love, and we're supposed to act in patience. And I just highly recommend, we're very faith based. So seeking and praying to God about this, especially if you're struggling with closing that mouth, in lack of better terms, towards your other kid. Like, let that be something that you and your spouse talk about. Don't bring that to the children, because that's going to be extra baggage. Even if they're really young, 4, 5, 6, 7, even if you think like they're not paying attention, they are observing everything that comes out of your mouth. So really, really hone in and try to use words of wisdom when it comes to dealing with that other parent, and especially when it comes in relation to your child.
Yeah, good advice. And you would say, I'm gonna assume that you're saying that as well, if like your biological parent is talking crap about the step parent as well. Like,
Yeah, 100%. Oh, even more so. Like, even more so. If you're talking, it's one thing, you got to look at it from the child's perspective, because they are the most important, I feel like, part in all this. Yeah, you're going through your own things as a parent, and you're dealing with another marriage, and now you're with another spouse, and integrating your children into that. Like, I understand, like, that can be hard on you personally, but your kids are suffering a lot. Like, I think a lot of that gets put on the back burner because you're like, oh, they're just kids, they'll get over it. But no, your kids are like really, really suffering with that, because their whole entire life has been uprooted. So I think when it comes in terms to welcoming the other step parent, even if you might not be in agreement with them, it's the same principle. Like, the children are, it's valid if the children want to love the step parent, like, let them. You should be so happy and filled with joy if your step parent wants to be a part of your child's life. Bottom line, because you could have been, even if there's a step parent who's a little difficult, um, you could have been, you know, I guess, given a step parent who totally disengages with your child and makes them feel worthless and not a part of the family. So if you have a step parent that wants to and is longing to be a part of your child's life, man, why would you not be excited for them? You know, like really, really recommend, and just kind of put out there, like, yeah, of course you can love this other person, So yeah, just from that perspective, I feel like.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
So, what if you, the stepchild, are frustrated? Like most kids do get frustrated with their parent, and you're going back to whichever parent it is, the one you're not frustrated with, and kind of just like bleh, all the feelings that you have towards your other parent. Um, what do you think would be the right step for either the parent or the step parent that's hearing that? Because sometimes you want to validate those feelings, and so you're like, yeah, I hear you. Yeah, they totally suck. And you kind of touched on this a little bit earlier when you were saying that, like, hug them and comfort them if they're going through the hard time. But I feel like that's a hard one when say you just came from your dad's house and you go over to your mom's house, and me and your dad were doing all the things that you hate because you're a teenager, and we do things that you're gonna hate from time to time.
Existing, basically.
Yes. So you go back and tell your mom all the things that you hate about your other parent. I mean, at that point, don't you feel like that's just like an open door to be like, hey, it's my turn?
Yeah, that's a tricky one, right? Because of course you're gonna want to be like, "Oh, come here, baby! Like I knew it, I knew your daddy was weird like that." You know what I mean?
Weird.
So, and be like, "Yeah, that's the reason I divorced that man." Like it's so easy to be like egging it on, right? But that's when you have to be the bigger man, right? If your kid is commenting now, obviously, if it's a concern, like if it's a high level concern, then
A safety issue.
a safety issue, then definitely seek some wise counsel in that area, but or some action or something behind that. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to just like your kid being like, "Oh, dad wouldn't buy me a new game system for my birthday," like when they're just talking mess like that, or be like, "Oh, he wouldn't let me go to the park with my friends because I did this," don't hold value to the discipline that the other parent is giving. I think it can help the child and be very beneficial with the child if you do hold respect for that other parent in that way. Like it may not be the way that you think is ideal to parent, but if the other parent says it like that and it's not a safety issue and they took their own disciplinary measures, then still respect the choice that they made, right? Because ultimately, I mean, they have a say in your child's life too. They're the parent. So hold weight to that. But again, like just be there for your kid. Ultimately, we're not here to smack talk. We're not here to participate or add our own opinions to the conversation. Do that behind different doors with your spouse. Like y'all can hash it out there. But when your child comes like that, I mean, I think just the best thing is to just be like, "Oh man, buddy, like I'm sorry, but or even you could give examples like, "Oh, like I'm sorry and I understand, like your feelings are valid." You know what I'm saying? Like, your feelings are valid, but or even be like, "Oh yeah, that happened to me too when I was growing up. My mom took away my Xbox and like did whatever."
Yeah, and just sympathize with them, but not
Yeah.
necessarily go against whatever the
Yeah.
other parent is saying.
Exactly. Because if you're doing that, you're going to also create a lot of confusion for that kid, man. He's going to there and some kids are sneaky. Some kids can use that to their advantage. They're
I
like,
think most kids
Yeah,
will
yeah.
use that once they realize that you can play both sides.
yeah.
I know your dad, when his parents were divorcing, he did that. I know I did that. I wasn't even being raised by my parents anymore. I was being raised by my grandma. And so I had a little triangle of people I was able to manipulate to get to go. Because I was a pretty good kid, but all I wanted to be with my friends, go to the parties, do the things. Like I wanted to be included and accepted. And so I would use each of my parents in a way to where I could get what I wanted from the situation. And so I think that's pretty typical. So once you have they have the green light, like, okay, there's trouble in paradise. All right, I got this. Let me use this.
So you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm sure some of y'all struggle with that too. So yeah, they gotta watch out for some sneaky kids because they will definitely use that to their
And I think
advantage.
the mama bears in us want to. I would assume that women probably have a harder time because, like, we're using your mom as an example because you're the one talking. If my kids were on here as well, my biological kids, and I could be really honest. I mean, I know that I would see anything that my ex-husband would do, their dad, as like, haha, he's wrong. And that's why I'm the better parent. Right. And so, and I might not necessarily.
That's what not to do.
That's what I'm saying. I might not necessarily say those words. That's because your dad is a crappy parent and I'm the better parent. Well, there's probably times I have said that, but you say it with your actions. You say it with the way you do certain things with them. Like there are things that we are projecting out there with our answers. So I don't think that you can do it healthy until you're healthy yourself, though. That's my opinion.
Yeah, that's
like when
really
you're
great
still
advice,
insecure, when you're still working through your crap, when you still are parenting out of fear or control or whatever, I don't think that you can I don't know, maybe there's people that can, but I couldn't until what? You saying even still now? Are you talking about right now? Are you talking about that conversation earlier today?
We were talking about how we can grow with our words earlier.
Yes, I'm doing a little lesson on relationship, like the relationship principles and the right way to handle relationships. And I was asking her if I offend people because I feel like I really couldn't answer this question well because I don't think I really offend people. and and so she was being honest and saying, and I did say this. I said, I don't think I really offend my friends now, but when I do offend people, I do think it's the people that are closest to me or in the house, my children, you guys, Randall. Like I probably still say things, and I do think there is a control, but the control out of fear, like of something. Like for example, and I think this might have been where you were coming from yesterday or earlier when we were talking about it, when you say that I kind of guilt trip you into having to do things
oh yeah.
And I was really guilty of manipulating situations. So I word things a certain way so that you come up with the idea to want to do it. But just with you and Riley both lately and how involved y'all are getting in the church. And then when y'all back out of something last minute, my warning signs go off oh no, they're backtracking, or oh no, they don't love Jesus. Even though that's not, I know.
Oh no, I'm exhausted. That's the truth.
So we had a class last night and she was signed up to go. And then as we were fixing to walk out the door, she's like, you know what? I'm just going to stay back, which in itself wouldn't have been a big deal. But my youngest also originally was going to go to the class. And then when she's like, no, that kind of stuff it's not really for me. I got a close enough relationship with the Lord. We talk on a regular basis. I don't need to go learn any of that stuff. And I'm like, girl, please, you're 20 years old, 21 now. I was like, I'm 42, still learning. You can still, and anyways, it's I get in my head about, oh no, what's going to happen? And even with the situation that we had the other morning with the whole outfit thing.
Oh God. Yeah.
So Riley has started playing drums for the church worship band. It was going to be her first time playing at this girls' event, and then she was going to play for church the next day. But she got all up in her head about the outfit she was wearing, and she came down. And I was actually I wanted to bring this up today.
Did you?
I did.
Okay.
Because I just wanted to. This is something I was thinking on, and I'm like, maybe I'm just creating this situation in my head, and that's not even the case. She came downstairs with this such a confidence in the fact that that's what you were going to wear. And I better not say anything about it.
Did I?
That's how I perceived you come down the stairs.
Oh, okay.
And you came and you plopped yourself in the chair. Like, let's just see if she says something about this.
Well, because I loved it, right? I'm all into comfort. And it was the thing was it was a little girls event. So I asked her opinion after I sat down, and I was like, well, because backstory, I got burned, trying to dress in my own comfort zone one time. And then we end up going on this baby shower, and I'm like, it's just a baby shower. I'll wear whatever I want. It was period week, wasn't feeling good anyway. So I was like, we pull up to this mansion in Houston, and I mean, there's like people helping serve the food, and the people who are helping serve are dressed nicer than me. And I'm like, my God, like, what? She's like, Scarlett's like, it'll be fine. What you're wearing is fine. I'm like, okay. So I'm just pulling up here, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I could fit in with the dogs over here, honest to God. Like I was wearing a drug rug and some leggings, and I mean, there's women who have like $200 shoes on, and I'm like, my God, what? So I was asking her opinion because I didn't want to get burned again. And she came down with this really pretty floral, like fairy in a daydream outfit. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like I was wearing, I think, jeans and a hoodie, So and my whole thing with drumming was I had to wear my Vans. My Vans are like my drumming shoes, And so I was like, okay, well, I'm wearing this. And then so when I got down there with my confidence, I looked at you and I was like, okay, well, maybe I should just ask. So then I asked, and you were like, well, yeah. And so then I got stressed out because I felt like I had to please you and please the people of the church. And that's what stresses me out because I want to wear what I want to wear, dang it. And if it's not as elegant or pretty and peaceful or whatever as other people think, like, sorry, sister, like this is what I'm comfortable in. The Lord don't worry about what clothes you wear. You know what I mean? As long as you wear clothes. Like, I'm not saying that. Like, please.
Hey, he made us naked.
Please cover yourself.
But in that, like, y'all are seeing, like, in real time, like, this is the same kind of stuff that we grew up situations. Like, so when I have got to the place where I'm like, I'm not going to care what they wear. I'm not going to say anything. So that's what happened with the whole baby shower situation. I'm like, you know what? I'm just glad she's going to this baby shower with me. So we're just going to go with it. She can wear what she wants to wear. And if when we get there, she feels embarrassed, the next time she'll wear something different. If she's not embarrassed, then more power to her for not caring what other people think, because that is not me. Like, I want to fit in and I want to wear the appropriate things. And my grandma really drilled that in my head. And I have a different mindset when it comes to church. I do want to dress up because I would dress up if I was going out. And I think that's the stuff that goes through my head that I might not verbalize. Like, okay, you dressed up more when you were going to the club last week when we were celebrating Riley Rain's birthday, or you dressed up cuter when we were going to the park to have a picnic. And now we're going to this cute little girls event and you're wearing jeans and a t-shirt and a fluffy jacket. The jacket was cute. I mean, it was all like not a bad outfit in general. It just wasn't, I thought, appropriate. But I still wasn't going to say anything. I wasn't going to say anything.
So what's the point of this story?
The point of the story is, so I come in and I tell Randall, we're having a meerkat moment, because when we took our first family pictures, there's this picture I'll have to show you at some point where she went and threw on the most odd thing that she could think of to try to please me, but also not knowing what she was supposed to wear.
Yeah, this has always been an issue. I mean, it's
but she's like, I don't have style. I'm like, Riley, you do have style. You do.
Well, I
Yeah.
guess sometimes it comes in phases.
Comes and goes. And
'cause
when
I
it's
don't know.
period week, yeah, you just got to take what
You get what you get, sister.
But then I walk outside and I'm waiting on her now. Now she's wearing an outfit that is cute and appropriate, and it's between what makes her feel comfortable and what is appropriate to go. So she's like talking to her dad, like kind of complaining to him about it, and I already complained to him about it. And so I just found it funny that even all these years later, like we're still going through some of the same things, but now that we have like a different understanding with each other, those things don't fester as long. You know what I'm saying? Like we're able to like talk about it and get past it a lot sooner. But yet when you were younger, those things like really like the little things like that turned into big things that didn't need to. Okay. And I think because we have another question, but this is already, we're already 35 minutes in. And I think that was a pretty good, solid conversation on when the parent is talking crap about the other parent. So I feel safe to stop there. And we just gave a little like, just a little story.
What is it?
A little ha for the listeners of like, hey, look, they're not perfect.
Oh yeah, no, by far. I was complaining to my dad super hard. But yeah, I honestly forgot that happened. So
yeah, we've moved on, and it all worked out, and the little girls were blessed by Riley's drumming skills. I'm sure there's going to be future girl drummers because
hey, if there's one good thing, I would appreciate that.
you would appreciate it. So I do want to ask, I'm not going to ask the bonus question that I was going to ask. We'll save that for the next one. But what we've been doing on the episodes, wrapping up, is to name something that your step family, your blended family, enjoys doing together. So just on the sake for this episode in you and I's relationship, what is one of your favorite things that you and I do together? Don't think too hard there.
I'm sorry.
I didn't give you a warning.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we do like everything,
Good answer.
The first thing that came to my mind was going to the grocery store, which I don't know why that came into my mind.
Do we even go to the grocery store, or that one time we went and got ice cream?
We don't even go to the grocery store. I don't know. I thought about like the other day when we went to Aldi.
Okay. Yeah, we do make some little quick trips. That one time we went to HEB and got the ice cream, and I forget why we were running to HEB. Like you don't even remember? We were laughing so hard the whole time. We saw Emerson there, and we got sushi, and we got all the different sugar. That's what it was. She doesn't eat sugar, and we were craving ice cream, and I guess it was just me and you here for some reason. So we went to HEB and we got like 4 or 5 different sugar-free ice creams.
Oh yeah.
I can say we've only done this once in our life, so it's like, look, where's this?
I remember that, but I don't know. I didn't remember us laughing so hard.
We were laughing so hard. It was a good time. Okay.
I believe it. Okay.
Okay. Well, mine is when we just go on random adventures, like the park last week and the picnic, and
yeah, I think same.
Just doing whatever it is on a whim.
Yeah, I think that's my answer. Because the grocery store is a random thing that we would have done.
Oh, yeah, that is true. So, okay. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I hope, Riley, you might be listening and thinking, does she have her degree in counseling for children that are in blended families? Because she has so much wisdom that she is bringing here. But this is really just from her life experience, her growing up in a blended family, experiencing the negatives that come along with it, with some of the positives that come along with it, and telling you what she wished it would have been like. And so if you have any power in your step family, which if you're an adult, you should have some power in your step family. I think what she's saying here today is shut your mouth.
Yeah, that's the title. That's what we're going to name the title. Shut your mouth.
Shut your mouth. And I'm speaking to myself here.
Oh, man.
Yes. Think about what the kid really needs from you and shut your mouth. All right, guys. Until next time, we got 3 more episodes coming now. Now that she knows that this is going to be Chronicles, you have to have more than one. And I named this Stepdaughter Chronicles, so we have to have more than one.
Yeah.
Is that my way of manipulating you into doing the things I want you to do? Is this a real life example of me controlling you?
I'll do it for you.
The answer was yes. So I'm going to go spend some time with the Lord and see if he tells me to release her. We'll see.
Release me. My God. I ain't ready to go to heaven yet.
Not that kind of release, just into the
Oh.
world like a butterfly. And if she
Oh.
returns, it's meant to be. All right, guys.
Bye.
Until next time, remember to enjoy your blended family.